Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something really incredible. We are looking at exactly how a massive municipal liability, and yeah, I'm talking about garbage here, is actively being transformed into a premium domestic commodity using the 905 Wood digital refinery. It's this absolutely fascinating intersection of geopolitics, dense trade laws, and bleeding-edge AI. As you'll see, we're going to explore how smart tech is literally engineering Ontario's economic sovereignty. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with 1, the cross-border waste crisis, move right through 2, CSMA and compliance chaos, introduce 3, the Sentient Bridge solution, look at 4, edge AI hardware architecture, explore 5, automated verification and compliance, and finish up with 6, Ontario's new industrial leadership. Section 1, the cross-border waste crisis, the looming bottleneck. Just 9 years. That single undeniable number illustrates the stakes perfectly. Ontario's landfills literally have a hard 9-year expiration date before they are completely 100% exhausted. The physics of this are inescapable, right? We are talking about millions of tons of waste generated annually, while our domestic capacity is shrinking rapidly. Now, historically, the overflow valve for this crisis has just been exporting all this waste across the border to Michigan landfills. But, as we're going to see, that physical relief valve is currently being choked off by some harsh geopolitical and economic realities. Now, look at where all this material is actually coming from. The institutional, commercial, and industrial sectors, what we often refer to as ICI, produce at least 7.2 million tons of waste annually. That represents 60% of the total volume. Yet, and this is the crazy part, an astounding 98% of these entities completely lack active recycling programs. It's honestly a bit like having a massive leak in your boat and 98% of the crew doesn't even own a bucket. This totally unregulated construction and demolition waste forms the bulk of those cross-border shipments, which exposes our domestic operators to massive external risks. Moving right along to Section 2, CUSMA and compliance chaos, trade friction. All right, let's look at the timeline here. As of July 1st, 2026, the United States formally declined to renew the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement in its current form. And what did that do? It triggered a 10-year rolling annual review process. What this actually means in practice is that border headaches aren't going away anytime soon. They are the new normal. We are witnessing a highly volatile decade of continuous trade renegotiations, specifically for the Ontario-Michigan waste export corridor. It's going to be characterized by escalating transportation premiums, super strict insurance liability requirements, and of course, persistent tariff threats. Here is the real financial trap at the border. To maintain that crucial customer duty-free status, domestic operators now have to prove their material meets these incredibly strict, wholly obtained rules of origin. If a shipment arrives at the port of entry and the documentation is missing or even slightly incorrect, customs agents will immediately reclassify it as non-originating. That subjects the entire shipment to Section 122 global tariffs, which carry a brutal 10% penalty. To avoid getting hit by these tariffs, importers absolutely must execute flawless verification and compliance protocols so they can present a valid certificate of origin at the exact moment of entry. Old-school paper records? They simply cannot survive this level of scrutiny anymore. No way. Which brings us to Section 3, the Sentient Bridge solution, our technological nexus. Enter the 905 Wood digital refinery. I want you to think of this platform as a sentient bridge. Instead of paying those exorbitant fees to truck raw wood waste into an increasingly hostile U.S. market, this platform connects municipal waste liabilities directly to premium industrial commodity markets right here at home. It captures all that chaotic, mixed debris and mathematically upcycles it into the high-purity biocarbon demanded by clean energy and industrial metallurgy markets. This not only secures massive green premiums, but fundamentally diverts material away from our dying landfills. It's a real game-changer. Section 4, Edge AI Hardware Architecture, the Zero Latency Edge. To actually achieve this massive paradigm shift out in the real world, you need the right gear in the field. The entire 905 Wood digital refinery workflow operates directly on the Google Pixel 10 Pro. Powered by the on-device Tensor G5 chip and harmonized by the Android 16 OS, this setup operates with absolute zero latency and requires, get this, no cell connectivity whatsoever. It is genuinely mind-blowing when you take a step back and think about it. A field worker standing out in a dusty, remote municipal yard has a literal supercomputer right in their pocket capable of real-time material analysis. And this is where the magic really happens under the hood. I mean, how do you fit massive artificial intelligence onto a mobile device?
Well, the system utilizes advanced turboquant compression alongside Google's new Light RTAI stack, which is specifically optimized for local tensor processing. This combination lets the device run a heavy-hitting roster of frontier models completely natively. We're talking Gemini 3.1 Pro, Gemini Flash, Claude Sonnet 4.6, Claude Opus 4.6, and even GPT-OSS 120B, all completely offline. This ensures maximum data privacy, instantaneous processing, and total operational resilience when you're out in the field.
All right, Section 5, Automated Verification and Compliance, Flawless Tracking. So the workflow is actually remarkably intuitive for the user. The operator simply points the Pixel's camera at a chaotic pile of construction waste. Instantly, the AI executes a real-time offline computer vision scan. It triggers a 12-stage TCLP, which, for those who don't know, is essentially an automated toxicity pre-screening to check for contaminants and accurately classify the wood grade. Then, based on that specific categorization, the app instantly generates a dynamic request for quote, or RFQ, accurately calculating the processing costs and estimating the yield of high-purity biocarbon right there on the spot. Notice how perfectly this technology maps to these incredibly complex regulatory frameworks. The system automatically cross-references the scanned material against OREG 347, that's Ontario's General Waste Management Regulation. By establishing strict source authority and diversion under OREG 347, the operator completely 100% avoids the standard $60 per ton landfill tipping fee. At the exact same time, it secures the correct harmonized tariff schedule classification, specifically HTSUS 3825-900000. That classification acts as a federal customs shield, guaranteeing CSUMA tariff-exempt status if that biocarbon ever needs to be exported. Now, to survive those aggressive customs audits and intense domestic regulatory scrutiny, the Digital Refinery application workflow UI/UX builds literal mathematical certainty. At the end of every scan, it generates fully compliant output PDF documentation features that are cryptographically tagged. By embedding the SHA-256 hash of the original on-device scan directly into the PDF metadata, it creates an unassailable, totally tamper-proof chain of custody. So whether it's a U.S. customs agent grilling you at the border or a municipal auditor right here in Ontario, this digital verification proves total compliance instantly. And finally, Section 6, Ontario's new industrial leadership. By leveraging this localized edge AI to process and upcycle material domestically, 905 Wood effectively nullifies those cross-border threats we talked about earlier. It allows operators to entirely avoid the escalating transportation and insurance liability premiums dictated by fractured bilateral agreements. But honestly, more importantly, it directly addresses Ontario's ticking 9-year landfill clock by solving municipal infrastructure deficits right through domestic upcycling. This isn't just about managing waste anymore. This is exactly how you secure definitive industrial leadership in the global circular bioeconomy in a fractured post-trade world. I want to leave you with a final thought here. We are clearly entering an era of rolling uncertainty in international trade. But as we've seen today, physics and economics, they don't lie. The organizations that are going to thrive over the next decade will be the ones that stop relying on foreign landfills and start utilizing frontier AI to transform their liabilities into highly valuable assets. So the big question remains, how will you deploy domestic edge compute to build resilient sovereignty for the future? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.